film. In the retrospective of Andreas, I don't know if you were able to see Whiskey and Vodka, and the film you saw just, there is a very different idea, Andreas. In the film we saw now is the austerity of the storytelling, and in Whiskey and Vodka, which is a film on a filming and the series of intrigues that happen on the set. And this is a very elegant film, many camera movements, with a dolly. You do take an important scene, you are moving the camera and not here. What does moving of the camera means to you?
It always depends on the things you want to speak about. And if something is necessary or not, for example, the moving of the camera depends on the scene. And of course, on the other hand, on the production method you choose. So Whiskey with Vodka is a totally different example. That film is made only by 7 people. So on the set we were 2 to 3 people and no additional technical equipment, no dolly, no additional light, nothing. Everything was like a documentary, and so you have to organize yourself in a production style like that, because it's not possible to make camera movements only from the shoulder if you have handheld camera. But with Whiskey with Vodka, I had a great screenplay by a very famous and wonderful screenplay writer, Wolfgang Kohlhase. Yeah, he's a living legend. Yeah, he's brilliant. He's 81 or 82. He's 82, and he's so fresh in his head. And he wrote masterpieces of cinema history in Germany. Yeah. And I worked twice together with him. Summer in Berlin was the first production, and Whiskey with Vodka was second. Is the second. And if I have a film like that and a well-written screenplay by Wolfgang Kohlhase, I would have been stupid to start to improvise, because he writes wonderful dialogues. Yeah? And this is, of course, a big production. I had 80 people behind the camera, 80 people in front of the camera, because there was a second film crew, because the story is taking place on a film set. And of course, you have to think about, for these big scenes, what is necessary. And of course, there were scenes from a movie which is going to be shot in our movie from the 20s, a kind of costume movie. And for that traditional style of filmmaking, we used these traveling shots and elegant camera movements and all these things. That's what I learned on film school. And for films like that is really helpful. And by the way, if you start to improvise, I think it is good to know the traditional handcraft for that, because it's like a painter, it's not so useful to start in freestyle. First of all, you have to learn how to create, for example, a portrait or all these traditional things, and so you need for improvising handcraft. And François Truffaut, the famous French director, said improvisation is if you don't recognize preparation. And that's the truth, I think. And but with Whiskey with Vodka, this is a traditional film, and so that means you control everything, and of course you have to organize a crew of 80 people. If I work like that, it's totally different. This is like a little bit like stepping into a dark room, not knowing how to get out. But the director has to go on. He's on top. And the people want to follow, but he doesn't know the way how to get out. And he has to find the way while moving. And this is something different. And when I make a film like Whiskey with Vodka, I know before where is the camera movement. I can organize that in my head. When we are improvising, I follow only the actors. We have an idea for a scene. a kind of step outline for the whole movie. We develop that together. And then on the set, we start with the improvisation. No one knows what happens. And then maybe a miracle happens. Sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it's embarrassing. You never know. And then you have to start to work as a director. But the work happens and the developing of the scene happens in between the takes. And so this is a total different style of working. We have no schedule. We do not need all these parking places for the cars of 80 people, and all these lorries. And of course, I do not have to say to an actor, "Be careful, there's the lamp. Be careful because you get an ugly shadow when you're turning your head." I don't say things like that when we are improvising. It's not necessary, and it's like a little bit like freestyle, but you have to catch the situation later, and so this film looks much more controlled. For example, like Grill Point, the other film you mentioned, where we tried to do that for the very first time. This improvisation style.